What's going on, Jerome? It's a beautiful Wednesday. Birds are chirping and stuff, and it's time for another Vikings news dump. So the Vikings, Vikings in London, taking on the New Jersey Jets. Another chapter in the dumbest rivalry in sports history, which we'll get into later this week. I mean, it's just so stupid. Anyways, but Vikings travel schedule for this week announced by head coach Kevin O'Connell. So normal practice today, Wednesday, install day at TCO Performance Center Bar and Grill. Thursday, he's kind of vague, but they're probably going to do some sort of modified practice or a walkthrough Thursday morning, flying out of MSP in the evening. And then Friday, they're going to arrive in the morning London time. London is 6 hours ahead of Minnesota, Central Time, the only time zone that matters. Saturday, and then they'll have a practice in London on Friday. Saturday, acclimate. Sunday, I'm going to whip somebody's ass. That's right. And then flying home. So this is basically the similar schedule to when they went over to London in 2022, and it worked out. You know, the one in London came back, did some good business here, but the bye week is different, so the Vikings aren't flying home to get ready and get reacclimated to Central Time Zone for another game next Sunday, so there's a little bit of leeway there, but I really like that the Vikings got that wake-up call in second half against the Packers. I think that it means they're not going to take this game lightly, and the Jets are very poopy right now, but the Vikings certainly can't just walk in and expect to win. They got to bring the thunder, and Aaron Rodgers and company, I think, are going down. So we talked a lot about power rankings, and it's less about the power rankings themselves. It's about getting respect and recognition from the national media jabroni haircuts, and it's so weird because people don't want to believe. They're like, blah, 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 it's only for, like, even hardcore Vikings fans. The ones like, I've been a fan since 1873. Probably not, unless they're Wolverine. But it's like, I'll believe it when I see it. Right? That's not how faith works, man. And I understand it's like, hey, this team has been snake bitten a lot, and I understand this season is probably just going to crash and burn. I've been around long enough to realize that too. But call a spade a spade. When the team is playing well, it's okay to say that the team is playing well. Not, I hope that they're going to do, because that's not a winning mentality. Do you think Chiefs fans are like, I just hope that they play well, and we'll see what happens? No, like, who cares that they've won 3 Super Bowls in 5 years? We're talking about even before the first Super Bowl, when Mahomes are just rising up. Do you think they were like, oh, I just hope things go well? I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. No. What about the Patriots before they won that first Super Bowl? What about the Niners in the 80s, the Steelers in the 70s, the Cowboys in the early 90s? What about all that? Now, winning mentality, and that's something that Kevin O'Connell, Kwesi, Flores have brought in spades, and that's exactly what the Vikings need to carry on. Long story longer. So the power rankings, it's getting that recognition, and I do feel like some of the media are like, yeah, we're just waiting to see. Like, it's October now. We'll see if Slinging Sam Darnold turns back into a pumpkin. Ain't gonna happen, bro. Ain't gonna happen. Knocking on all the wood. The Vikings are a complete team. They play fun, fast, free, physical football, and Sam Darnold's gonna win MVP. Let's just say it, man. So this bugged me a little bit. The Vikings. Well, number one, the Vikings were at 4, and they're behind the Lions at 2. This is all just recency bias. Do we forget that the Lions needed overtime to beat a very injured Rams team? Do we remember that they lost at home? Oh, by the way, must be nice to have 3 out of your first 4 games at home. Awesome. Cool. And also they lost at home to the Buccaneers, and then they won out in the desert because Arizona had a Garbaggio game because Max Williams, Trey McBride got hurt, and then they put the bang thing on the Seattle Seahawks because Seattle didn't have half their defense, including none of their defensive line. Cool. Awesome. So none of that factors in. It's just, they score points and Jared Goff didn't throw an interception. Awesome. Good times. Ravens. I got respect for the Ravens, but also this feels like recency bias. They put the bang thing on the Bills at home. Congratulations. But also, I mean, they barely lost to the Chiefs. Whatever. They lost, gave it away now to the Raiders, as well as, they beat an overrated Cowboys team. Cool. Hey, the Vikings have 4 wins. The Ravens have 2 wins. I understand power rankings aren't just standings, but one of these things is not like the other. You're going to come up against an Asian in math? Come on, man. Come on. And the Vikings wins are impressive. I mean, it's hard to win a game on the road, even if it is the Giants. Beating the Niners' ass, beating the Texans' ass, beating the Packers' ass for half. and then a bunch of wonky things happen. But bottom line, hey, are the Packers good or not? Because everyone and their mom keeps saying, oh, Jordan Love, oh, the Packers, oh, here we go. So if they're actually good, isn't it kind of tough winning in their building? Huh? Especially when Jordan Love throws for 389 yards and 4 touchdowns. Huh? Isn't it tough? Tough? That's what I thought. Yeah. Either way, just beat the Jets, except then they're going to say the Jets are overrated. So that happens. And, I mean, the Chiefs and the Vikings are the only 4-0 teams left in the league. And I understand, respect. Heavy is the head that wears a crown and all that stuff. But, I mean, the Chiefs have sort of been tiptoeing through the tulips, right? So they beat the Ravens because Isaiah Likely wears a size 12 shoe and not a size 11 shoe. They survived against the Bengals because of So it's not that the Chiefs get phantom calls. It's that the referees never miss an opportunity to make a call in the Chiefs' favor. Where, I mean, they're human, right? They make errors all the time. They miss calls for other teams. It happens, right? But the refs certainly helped them out there. The Falcons, near run thing. Then the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers were beat to poop, and Herbert was hurt too. And they win in LA by a touchdown, by 1 score. Okay, so I was told reliably that when the Vikings were ripping off 11 single-score wins in 2022, oh, they're a fluke. Oh, it's a house of cards. Oh, point differential. But now the Vikings plus 57-point differential, tied for tied for second best in the National Football League. Where are all those detractors now? Where's all the point differential people now? Oh, you can't use something random as a brick to throw against the Vikings, so you just ignore it? Convenient, but long ways to go. And I understand. Like, I can already hear the comments like, oh, 1 game at a time, do that. Fully understand. But also, I mean, you have to enjoy things, right? Because not to get all philosophical and emo, but every single Vikings game we watch is one less that we get to have in our lifetime, if you think about it. And that's not to be morbid or fatalistic, but it's the truth. And we only have so many seasons. We only have so many falls in our lifespan. And if you're not going to enjoy it, what's the point? Right? I know people want to talk tough. Every season you don't win the Super Bowl is a failure. I get it. Fully get it. Fully love for the Vikings to win a GD Super Bowl in my lifetime, or at minimum my kid's lifetime, or at minimum my future grandkids' lifetime, right? But just enjoy the moment. I mean, they call the present because it's a gift. God, that was corny. I think that was from a fortune cookie. Anyways, but the Vikings, right? If the season ended today, the Vikings would be the 1 seed in the NFC, Chiefs the 1 seed in the AFC. And what's interesting is that, I mean, like the Niners wouldn't make the playoffs, Cowboys no, Rams no. So it's kind of awesome. But for the NFC, it would be Vikings 1, the 2 seed Bucks would be hosting the 7 seed Saints. I love in-division playoff games because there's so much intensity, man. Plus, it's hard to beat a team 3 times if the home team had swept the other team or vice versa. The Commies win the NFC least, hosting the Falcons. The Kirk Cousins Bowl. Oh, that's awesome. The script writers even get it right, even in week 4, heading to week 5. Then you got the Seahawks and the Lions matchup again. That was a hell of a game. I would love to see it if the Seahawks actually had their defense, which would be good, and would be bad for the Lions. Chiefs would be 1, 2 seed Texans. Hey, I was told that the Texans were bad. The Vikings beat a bad team week 3. Oh, the Texans are badass? All right. Texans hosting the Ravens. Oh, God, that'd be good. Steelers hosting the Colts. Is it weird that the Steelers only have a logo on one half of their helmet? We just accept that. Yeah. Then you got the Bills hosting the Jets, and the Jets sneaking in. Well, not even sneaking in. How are the Jets still the 5 seed? It's early, and everyone is 2-2, except for the Vikings. But a big reason the Vikings are 4-0 is the contributions of free agent linebacker Andrew Van Ginkel. And we said, when he came over from the Dolphins, $10 million a year, it was that's a pretty damn good deal. Flores got reunited, and it feels so good. And also, Dolphins fans were pissed. And we said this a bunch. It's the measure of a player is if he leaves a team for another team, and the original team's fans are pissed. And that happened with Andrew Van Ginkel. That happened with Harrison Phillips when he came over a couple years ago, and it's really good to see. You never want to see the fan base deuces, bye. Vikes fan page. Andrew Van Ginkel really wanted to re-sign with the Dolphins in the offseason, but Miami showed no effort into retaining him per Poop. That's not a real name. Poopart. NFL. When no offer was made, he had free agency, which ultimately led him to sign with the Vikings. Safe to say, Minnesota's thankful for his outcome. Well, couple great things here. So he's from Iowa, so he's closer to family, and also he was able to assist in cleanup efforts after some flood damage to his hometown, which is really, really unfortunate, but really uplifting as well. And he and his wife, and they've definitely made themselves home in Minnesota. And I understand, want to stay in Florida, no state income tax, South Beach, and all that stuff. Although I don't know, AVG doesn't really seem like a South Beach kind of guy, But he seems more like a couple beers in the garage and maybe something extra out there, just chilling, vibing, listening to Zeppelin 4 on vinyl. Yeah, go ahead. But yeah, AVG has been a huge part of this defense, and he and Grenard they're always on film, flashing, making plays, getting pressures, gumming up passing lanes for AVG, and it's just amazing what they've been doing. It's fantastic. Also fantastic, Justin friggin' Jefferson getting in, blocking, getting after things, and also this is something that you've seen stress. Whether it's Kevin O'Connell, whether it's Wes Phillips, whether it's McCardle whenever he talks to the media, they all, instead of receivers, what's your number one job? Catch the ball, straight cash, homie, right? But they always stress first, run blocking. That's why Trent Sherfield made the roster. Trent Sherfield made some great run blocks against the Packers, and he's made a ton this season. And it's all, so receivers run blocking, there's a couple things there. Obviously, if you're run blocking, you're not getting the ball, which is what wide receivers want first. But if you're run blocking, someone else is succeeding. The team is doing well. And run blocking, it's physical. It's tough. You get injured. And if you get injured, you can't make your monies. You can't put up your stats, right? But it is selfless. It's a great litmus test for the quality and caliber of a wide receiver. And Justin Jefferson getting in there, we're just getting him, man. So key block on the Addison touchdown run, which was fantastic. And then a little bit later on, Justin Jefferson just got dotted on the sidelines by Sam Darnold. I still can't believe that Darnold made that throw. First off, just having the balls to throw it, he was covered. Nixon was in good coverage. Didn't get his head around, but he's in good coverage. And he just put it on that back shoulder right on his chest, where the only spot where Jefferson could make a play and no one else. Just having that arm and accuracy, just beautiful, man. And Josh McCown on the sideline, during the mic'd up portion, he was talking to the quarterbacks, and he was referring to Jefferson putting the run block in for Addison and then catching that touchdown a little bit later on. And he said, football treats you right when you do the right thing. And he's right. I mean, it's almost like a karmic thing, right? So you run block, you sacrifice yourself, you make someone else look good, and then all of a sudden you get rewarded by looking good. It's really fantastic, man. Opposite of fantastic. So Aaron Rodgers and the Jets are on the docket next. Now, they're in disarray. Their offensive line is bad. Rodgers got hit the most times in the Broncos game than he has in his career. And the Jets defense is falling apart. They can't get pressure consistently outside of Will McDonald. And Hassan Reddick doesn't want to report. Rodgers' cadence is under fire from Rob Salah. Everyone's getting fired. The Vikings, Garrett Wilson's pissing and moaning about the offense. The Vikings literally can end the Jets season in week 5. And also the Vikings being humble in the second half against the Packers, I think that leads them to not look past the Jets, not look forward to the bye week, not look ahead to the Lions week 7, but they're like, oh, we're pissed off, and this is our last chance to play football for a couple weeks, so we are going to whip somebody's ass, and it's glorious. But also, so Rodgers he's very good at understanding the manipulation of the masses. All right, so he put this out. He was on the McAfee show, which, hey, if you just lost in embarrassing fashion and you had 4 chances late in the game to drive into field goal range to win the game, but you didn't and you lost to a garbage Broncos team at home, hey, I would be embarrassed. But no, he's grinning ear to ear. Talk with McAfee, hyped up that Cal is hosting College Game Day. Ooh. But Rich Cimini, beat writer for the Jets, Aaron Rodgers, quote, I'm feeling a little banged up. Knee is a little swollen, end quote. So this is exactly what he's doing. He's putting it out there now where if and when he plays bad, he's got an excuse. Oh, he said on Tuesday that his knee was hurting him, so it's understandable, right? He can't just be ass, right? So is his knee hurting? I don't know, probably. Like this time of year, like everyone's dinged up a little bit, right? But there's certain quarterbacks who always play up their injuries because if they're bad, they have an excuse. If they're good, Aaron Rodgers just a warrior out there, just amazing, just fighting through that little swollen knee. Woo. No, it's so it's so transparent what he's doing, and people just fall for it every single time. It's moronic, man. No. But something that isn't moronic is Flores' Hellfire defense. Oh, by the way, the Packers cracked the code on getting after Flores' defense. If you can consistently 4 or 5 times a game get the Vikings' backup punt returner to muff the ball down to the 3, and then you can score from there after your 12-year-old head coach throws a hissy fit on the sideline. And if you get a free rusher on Slinging Sam Darnold, America's quarterback, and get a strip sack on him when the arm is clearly moving forward, and you get the ball at the 20, you can win. Great. Vikings fan page again. Vikings quarterback Aaron Rodgers on the Vikings defense. Quote, they throw a lot of different things at you. The thing that they do really well is that they are able to call into pressures. They call out of pressures. Aaron also mentioned that Harrison Smith made sure to remind him that he has 2 career interceptions off him in the offseason when they golf together. So Rodgers hasn't faced the Flores Vikings defense. Last time it was, obviously against Zimmer and company, but watch film and things do show up, and that really is about ownership, the player's ownership of the defense. And Flores always says, is their defense, because the sideline communicator is exactly like, for defense, exactly like the quarterback. It cuts off at 15 seconds. So after 15 seconds, everyone is out there on their own. And even if Flores had something to add, it's going to be hard-pressed, especially if you're on the road like the Vikings were against the Packers, for Cashman to communicate at all 3 levels of the defense and get things changed up. So Flores has said when the players on the field call twists against certain looks, they get out of pressures or they get into pressures given certain looks. So there is a lot of autonomy on the field, right? Because there's only so much that the coaches can do on the sideline. So that's really what's amazing too about this Vikings defense is that the communication, the discipline, playing team defense, rallying to the ball. Also, Aaron's going to be put on his ass about 24 times. No problem. But hey, the Jets can trade for Davante Adams. Just trade Hassan Reddick for Davante, and then there you go. Hey, can Davante play defense? Can he run block? Or can he pass block? Can he block anybody? No. What's going to be the point? Rap sheet. Raiders star wide receiver Davante Adams is for the team they prefer to be traded. So when Adams missed the Browns game with a hamstring issue, everyone knew that's a BS. That's I want to trade itis. So first off, no for Adams to the Vikings. I mean, the Vikings are deep at receiver. They just got Addison back. No. No. That's all I got. But, I mean, so a lot of people are like, hey, the Raiders should trade Davante Adams to the Chiefs. The Raiders would rather move back to Oakland than trade Davante Adams to the Chiefs. They would rather trade 3 first-round picks to China and send Davante Adams to the Beijing Tigers than help the Chiefs win another Super Bowl. That's never going to happen. Like, people don't understand the hatred of some of these rivalries. Like, we talk about Falcons and Saints, that's bitter. Like, Chiefs and Raiders, that goes way back. So, absolutely zero chance the Raiders are going to do anything to help the Chiefs. What would have to happen is the Raiders have to trade to a third party, and then that third party would trade Davante to the Chiefs. That's the only way this happens. And also, there have to be a poison pill provision. So when the Packers traded Bert Favre to the Jets, there was a poison pill provision in there. Is if the Jets just flipped Favre to the Vikings, the Jets would owe the Packers, I think it was 3 first-round picks. So they're probably going to have to be similar language in a Adams trade. Although I don't know if they can do that anymore. Speaking of, I don't know. This is so funny. Self-own, amazing. So the Bears put out, did we make a punter hype video? Absolutely. So they drafted Tory Taylor out of Iowa in the 4th round. I wanted Tory Taylor, not in the 4th round though, but super talented punter out of Iowa. Got a lot of work punting last year. He's got a lot of work punting this year. He's tied for 4th number of punts in the league with 20. He's about middle of the pack in net. So this is not the own that you think it is. Like, you're literally hyping up your punter. Like, you want your punter to be like the commies Tress Way, to have as little work as possible. Tress Way has punted 4 times for the commies. And he's a Pro Bowl punter. It's amazing. But, hey, keep going off. Hey, just whatever makes yourself feel better about not taking Jaden Daniels and being stuck with Caleb Williams. Go ahead. Go ahead, man. Yeah. Speaking of go ahead. So, tell us what Metellus. It's definitely grown on me. Like, it's pretty damn good. It's still not 96 questions, but I don't think anything ever will be. But I mean, Metellus is funny. He's really good. Coaxing out good answers and also just ripping on some of the answers too. So the question was their most toxic trait, and there's some funny things here. So Harrison Smith, daily grudges. Also says he's got way too many toxic traits, which, I mean, we put these football players up on the pedestals, except they got the same problems the rest of us do. Justin Jefferson says that his number one issue is communication. How many times have lack of communication like ruined significant other relationships? A lot. Also, it's great that Jefferson understands that. Anyways, but Harrison Smith, daily grudges. That's also me. Like, I don't hold grudges. I just have a long memory, and I don't forgive. Maybe those are grudges. And Jerry Tillery is low-key the star of these, besides Will the Throw Coming, but Jerry Tillery is that he loves too hard. There's a couple ways to take that. Yeah. But yeah, Vikings getting a good practice day. Then Vikings in London tomorrow. But that's it. Vikings news dump for this beautiful Wednesday. You guys are the best. You have to do Skull production value.